our board is set up, so let's go ahead and set up the component that's actually going to spawn the tiles on our board. So to do that, let's go ahead and select our game manager game object here. Let's ignore our deck manager script for now. Hit the add component button, and we're going to look for the component called tile spawner. There we go. And you'll see that this is a script that I've already set up for you. Before we get into filling this stuff out, I'm going to point out what each of these sections are. So our branches thing here is actually going to be where we're placing our branches that we just made. These tile prefabs are where we're going to assign these 5 prefab tiles. And the reset tile transform will be where you decide you want the player to be reset if they go over that winning position. So, oh, and finally, this tile spawn chance are actually numbers that you can adjust to determine how likely a specific tile is to spawn. So we have 4 types of tiles here. The empty tile is a tile that you'll land on and nothing will happen. The draw tile is a tile that when you land on it, you'll draw a card where you can you can either slow or speed up anybody in the game, including yourself. The slow tile is a tile that if you land on, your next dice roll will be cut in half. And then the speed tile is a tile that if you land on, your next dice roll will be, multiplied by 1.5. And you can adjust all these numbers as much as you want. And in fact, in a second, or in the next step, when we get into actually spawning the tiles, we can take a look at how this affects the tiles that spawn. But the first thing we want to do is get our branches in. So in the transform branches section here, if we make sure we click this little drop-down arrow, you'll see the size field. We want to set this size equal to the number of branches we have. So I've got 10 branches, so I'm going to type 10. And then I'm going to drag each branch in to each of these corresponding elements. Now the order is very important here. We want branch 1 to go into element 0, and branch 2 into element 1, branch 3 into element 2, and so on all the way down to our 10th element. Now if you have more or less than me, you'll go to whatever your number of branches is, but we want to drag all of these guys in there. Once we've got all of our branches assigned, the next thing we want to do is drop in our tiles here. So we're going to drop the empty tile into the empty tile prefab, the draw tile into draw tile, slow tile into slow tile, speed tile, and wind tile in their respective ones. And then finally, you're going to pick one of your tile points here and assign it as the respawn point. We're also going to change the color of that game object just so that we have a reminder as to which tile it's going to be. So I'm going to choose the one just after this turn here. And once I pick which one, I'll just select it here, go up to where we picked that yellow orb, and we're going to change it to green. And that's just going to allow us to know which tile we're resetting to. And then in our game manager, we want to find that green tile. So that's game object 1 under branch 7. And we're going to drag that into our reset tile position. And to double check that we've dragged the right one, we can click on the game object once we've dragged it in, see that it highlights it. And if we double click on it, it'll just select the game object, and we'll see that our little selection gizmo does appear on the proper transform. With that all set up, we've got everything we need in the component, and in the next step we'll get into scripting the actual act of spawning our tiles in.